We all hear the radio about the IRS. They tell you you're afraid, to be scared, frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9924. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-9924. That's 800-575-9924. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Get ready for Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Hey, this is David Cooper, Vice President at Genesis Diamonds. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special 2-day event, October 18th and 19th. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and 0% interest financing on a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got dozens and dozens of Pepsi, Batman, Sprites, Submariners, Daytonas, models you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine like new condition, some just out of the box. And listen, with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. That's a $3,000 value. Also, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing October 18th and 19th only, and only at Genesis Diamonds on Montgomery Road.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch. Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? It's time to get the relief you deserve without going under the knife. Think about it. Your body heals itself. Think about it. You cut your finger. Yeah, guess what? Your body's healing agents are at work because it heals up in a few days. QC Kinetics can take those healing properties and concentrate them in the joints where you have pain to help heal and restore those achy areas. This treatment is available now right here in Cincinnati through QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. The results, you can move again with no pain. QC Kinetics has treated thousands of patients with incredible success. Finally, relief from arthritis and injury without surgery or downtime, no steroids or pain pills. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, you need to see if you're a good candidate for these new treatments. Find out. Call now to schedule a free consultation with QC Kinetics. 513-847-0019.
Zerorez Carpet Cleaning, it doesn't just clean spots. They remove dirt from living spaces where you and your loved ones spend time. Don't miss the Zerorez Fall Sale. 3 rooms are carpet clean, only $129. When you mention me, Bill Cunningham, easily schedule online, ZerorezCincy.com.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Live from the 700 WLW studios. Driven by Mike Castrucci Jeep in Fairfax. Now recognized as the largest volume Jeep dealer in Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. Mike Castrucci Jeep is the #1 Jeep dealer in the tri-state. That's Mike Castrucci Jeep in Fairfax.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Hurricane Milton battering the Florida coast. With the 10 o'clock report, I'm Taryn Johnson. Breaking now, Milton making landfall within the last hour or so as a Category 3 hurricane and wreaking havoc on the Sunshine State. The latest from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. Hurricane Milton. I'm Mike Dubusky. Landfall for Hurricane Milton in Siesta Key, Florida. The Category 3 storm brings 120-mile-per-hour winds, tornadoes, and up to 12 feet of storm surge in some areas. The most dangerous surge is expected in Sarasota, where we find ABC's Victor Akendo.
Parts of Sarasota already flooded. Calvin Bryant has lived in Sarasota since 1957, choosing not to evacuate.
So when your family, your kids and grandchildren told you to please leave, what was your response?
I'm not going nowhere.
Many families heeding the warnings, jamming highways for days. 1,900 gas stations, about a quarter of all stations statewide, running out of fuel. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis urging the entire state to stay on alert.
Officials already reporting more than 100 homes have been destroyed and more than 800,000 people are without power. This is ABC News.
Now the latest traffic and weather together. Thanks to the news tip about an accident, 471 northbound just past the Grand Avenue exit. That's impacting the on-ramps there at Grand Avenue. But other than that, we are not seeing any major delays or accidents on tri-state highways at this point in time.
Now the latest forecast from the Advanced Dentistry Weather Center. Advanced Dentistry, the judgment-free dental experience you've been looking for. NoFearDentist.com.
Let's go through the overnight tonight. Skies stay clear. We'll be cool once again with a calm wind out of the north at 2 to 4 miles per hour. Temperatures bottoming out right around 46 to 49, depending on where you're at. Warmer as you get closer to downtown Cincinnati. As we head throughout your Thursday, more sunshine, a bit cooler, 72 degrees for a high temperature with more sunshine as we head on into Friday. Friday a bit warmer, 74. Saturday, 78. Sunshine to start, clouds late with rain overnight. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Brandon Spinner, News Radio 700 WLW.
Our radar shows clear conditions. Right now we have a temperature of 58 degrees. 2 people involved in a deadly vape shop burglary attempt in Delhi Township last year have taken a plea deal. 20-year-old Amante Carter and 19-year-old Messiah Hart will both serve 7 years in prison for their role in the death of 16-year-old Travis Johnson. Hart pleading guilty earlier today to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, while Carter pleaded guilty to 1 count of theft of a vehicle and 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. Last October, Johnson was shot and killed by the manager of the VIP smoke shop in Delhi Township, while several suspects, including Johnson, Carter, and Hart, attempted to break into the store. In other local news, brand new affordable housing here in the tri-state. Rick Ucchino has those details.
9 new smart homes are in development for Colerain Township, Springfield Township, and Hyde Park. New affordable housing options for adults with disabilities, thanks to the allocation of $4 million to the nonprofit Living Arrangements for the Developmentally Disabled.
People with disabilities are part of Hamilton County, and they should be able to live independently here.
Hamilton County Commission President Alicia Reese, whose mother was confined to a wheelchair for the final 12 years of her life.
The biggest thing I always saw with my mother is she wanted to be independent.
These homes, once completed, will provide services and support for up to 36 developmentally disabled adults in Hamilton County. I'm Rick Ucchino, News Radio 700 WLW.
Our news time is 10:05. Next update at 10:30. I'm Taryn Johnson, News Radio 700 WLW.
This report is sponsored by Medical Mutual.
Ohio seniors, are you looking for better Medicare benefits? Visit medmutual.com/review to schedule a free Medicare plan review with Medical Mutual, Ohio's hometown Medicare insurer. Again, visit medmutual.com/review to schedule a free Medicare plan review.
Men over 45, do you have a frequent, urgent need to urinate or a weak flow? Do you suffer from an enlarged prostate or BPH? Know your options. If BPH medications are bothering you, or you're worried about invasive surgery, ask about the UroLift system. The UroLift system is an outpatient, minimally invasive procedure. It reopens the channel with no cutting and provides rapid symptom relief with no new, sustained erectile or ejaculatory dysfunction, as shown in a clinical study. Go to urolift.com and click on Find a Physician for a doctor near you. Urolift.com. UROLIFT.com. Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects including involving bleeding and infection may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention. If you suffer from symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BPH, the UroLift system is a proven alternative to BPH medication or invasive surgery. Visit urolift.com and click on Find a Physician to speak to a doctor to see if you're a candidate for the UroLift system.
Homeowners, the Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Eddie. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high rate loan. You can lock in at lower rates with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, and even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call now, 513-800-1550 or loanpronto.com, or call 513-800-1550. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Kenton County Haunted Fairgrounds is right around the corner, starting October 11th and 12th and wrapping on the 18th and 19th. They have a demolition derby, food vendors, haunted attractions, and so much more. Visit them today at the Kenton County Haunted Fairgrounds Facebook for all the information.
I'm Carrie Champion, and this is Season 4 of Naked Sports. Up first, I explore the making of a rivalry. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese.
Every great player needs a foil.
People are talking about women's basketball just because of one single game.
I just come here to play basketball every single day.
Clark and Reese have changed the way we consume women's sports. Listen to The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search The Making of a Rivalry, Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, and start listening.
It's 700 WLW. It is 10:08. This is Dan Carroll, and you are listening to the Wednesday night edition of the Midweek Crisis. We do it Wednesdays and Thursday nights, 9 to midnight. Glad to be here. Glad you are here as well. Watching the live coverage of Hurricane Milton, which the eye wall came ashore a little bit earlier tonight on Siesta Key, is where the hurricane made landfall. So just a little bit south of Tampa. So all those areas in there getting hammered by the hurricane tonight, and watching live coverage on Fox News, watching live coverage on the Weather Channel. And so the folks in Florida are battening down hurricane. I believe it is a Category 3 right now. Or actually, the Weather Channel saying it is now a Category 2. So not the strongest winds possible, but still just a ton of rain. And going to be a ton of damage. So that's what's happening with that. As we continue our discussions, it is my pleasure once again to welcome in a guest who has been on this show a handful of times. And from the Conservative Caucus, he is the president of the Conservative Caucus. And Jim Pfaff, welcome again to 700 WLW. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
So when you look at the polling right now, especially as it relates to the swing states, I mean, a lot of those polls are in the red right now. Harris has a very small, just a very marginal lead in Wisconsin, very small 1-point lead in Michigan. I'm sorry, not Michigan, but Nevada. Trump's up about a half a point in Michigan, but you look at that Pennsylvania. Trump has the lead. North Carolina, Trump has a small lead, 1-point lead for Trump in Georgia. Same in Arizona. Wisconsin's in play. Michigan's in play. So I look at that. I see that Trump has just made arrangements to have a rally at Madison Square Garden in New York. That is going to be unbelievable. He's also planning on doing rallies in California and some other blue states. And then I read that a lot of Democrats are privately telling each other they are very, very concerned about the state of this election right now. So, Jim Pfaff, I would say it looks like everything is trending towards Trump's advantage right now. How do you see it as you look at these different numbers?
You know, we're still trying to we're going to have to look at how these polls continue to play out. Not that I put faith in polls, far from it. In fact, I always tell people that polls tell you something. They don't necessarily tell you the reality, but they give you a sense of where things are going, and the trend is more what matters. And I think the trend's definitely working his way. It's really interesting, by the way. I love the spirit of Donald Trump to say, give people the finger and say, I'm going to New York and California, and we're going to win this thing. And it's that heart and spirit that is resonating with Americans. I also think when you're looking at these polls, the American public, it's starting to seep in the crappy response by FEMA in North Carolina and all the excuses that were given by Mayorkas and even Harris and Biden about all this, and claiming that they were doing something that, you find out when you get the information, they really weren't doing well. And I'm not saying there's no response. They're starting to respond. But the reality is it stunk. And then we're running into another hurricane going in Florida, which you just talked about. And I think that the incompetence and the lack of creative understanding and informed understanding of what's happening in this country and in the world, Kamala Harris just is shallow, and people are seeing it clearly. And I think the first indicator we had of that was the debate between Harris and Trump, which Trump on the points didn't win. But he won the debate because of all the lies that were told by Kamala Harris that came out afterwards, and that really pisses off Americans. So I think that the polls are saying what I perceive through the analysis I just gave, and what I think a lot of us, I'm sure you as well, when we look at this, what we're telling ourselves. Trump's winning this, and I think unless something really bad happens, I think he's going to pull it off, and it's going to be a fairly substantial win.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this coincides with Kamala Harris making herself more available and the American people really seeing her for what she is unable to do. And she's unable to string together a coherent sentence, a coherent thought. She's incapable of relaying any independent thoughts that she has on her own. And, I mean, can you get a series of more friendly interviews when you go on 60 Minutes, when you go on The View, when you, of course, she did the Oprah one a little while ago, but when you go on with Howard Stern, who has completely lost his way, from what he used to be several years ago. But even when she had the softest of softball interviews, she still could not perform at a level that makes someone look at that and say, you know what, this woman really is cut from presidential timber. I'm just not seeing it.
No, and the American public is not seeing it. By the way, they're not seeing it around the world. I was talking to just a little earlier tonight to one of my closest friends in the world who lives in Jakarta, Indonesia. We were just on the phone. And people around the world are really scared about what's going on here, too, because they know that if American freedom goes away, they're in trouble. It's not like we control everything in the world, but we're highly influential, and we're definitely the center of freedom. But the American people know that that's at stake as well, too. I really believe this. Like, I'm actually more and more confident as I look at these polls, as I watch reactions that are happening. I'm more and more confident that the core of what America is still exists. So when Kamala Harris goes on these programs and acts in this shallow manner and really, as you rightly say, shows she's not cut from presidential timber, the American people are actually very smart. They're slow on the uptake sometimes because they're just living their lives, but they are very smart. They see these things. And what a wonderful thing. So I was telling my friend in Indonesia, I said, he's all worried. And I said, well, don't worry too much, because this is what campaigns are about. We start to find out exactly what's happening, and people get revealed for who they are. And more times than not, that works in the right way, and the American people can positively assert themselves at the poll. It may take a cycle or two sometimes, but they always tend to get it, and they tend to make the right decision.
Well, and Cam, the part of the point you just made about campaigns and why they're designed that way, they're meant to be rigorous. They're meant to wear a candidate out. They're meant to expose every possible side of a candidate that we can possibly see. And I think the more we see of look, the American people have seen Donald Trump, I think, inside and out over the last 8.5, maybe even more years. And of course, they knew him at least a few sides, the television side of him, before he got into politics. But when you look at what Kamala Harris is doing, and they try to help her out in so many different ways. And CBS, they edited the interview to make her response to the Benjamin Netanyahu question seem, I guess, a little bit more palatable than the nonsensical phrase that she had out there. But again, it just people see this, and I don't think the phrase I like to use is that the sizzle has come off the steak. But I want to get back to the point you were making about the hurricane response, and this administration in particular, and Democrats in general, have really mounted a full-scale attack on the First Amendment in this country. John Kerry, a week or so ago, was at an economic forum in New York, and he was talking about how our First Amendment gets in the way of things that they want to accomplish and things that they want to do. And then Hillary Clinton was out there talking about how the news media is friendly to Donald Trump. And this comes on the heels of you remember right before the ABC debate, the study was done, and it showed that ABC gave 100% negative coverage to Donald Trump. And when you put all the networks together, it's like 90+% of the coverage of Trump is positive, and 90% of the coverage on Kamala is or Trump is negative, and Kamala is positive. And that's not good enough for Hillary Clinton. She's demanding more. And now they're going on this tangent about all this disinformation. And I really think that these people, it's part and parcel of who they are, that they not only do they want to control the narrative, but they want to be able to censor the speech and be able to suppress the ability of the American people to criticize their government, which is enshrined in the First Amendment of the Constitution.
You know what's so amazing to me? You're first of all, you're right about all that. But what is so amazing to me about Hillary Clinton coming out and saying these things is that the women who Bill Clinton had inappropriate sexual relationships with were characterized by her and James Carville and Bill Clinton as bimbos. Remember the bimbo eruption?
Yeah, the bimbo eruptions.
That was their request.
Well, Stephanopoulos was part of that crew too. That was there to shut them down.
Absolutely, and that is the sort of twisted, in my mind, evil thinking on the left that is driving so much of this desire to censor people. Listen, Democrats do not have American ideals, or at least modern-day Democrats. I mean, I think John Kennedy did, and there were Democrats in the past. But this modern iteration of the Democrat Party is incredibly progressive and antithetical to every ideal that America was founded upon. This is so obvious when they get themselves backed into a corner. They will show themselves for who they are. And so Hillary saying that is the most absurd. And really, let's be honest, intuitively the American people sort of get this. It's really hard for them, just to repeat, they spend their lives just trying to get to work every day and take care of their families and do whatever it is that they want to do, pursue their lives. They don't need to be bound up in politics every single day, but they actually need to pay attention, and they do when things are at stake. And they know a lot is at stake right now. So the way this election is playing out is very similar to 2020, but in opposite, because the economy's gone crazy. Donald Trump didn't deserve the negative response at the polls that he got, and there was some of that in 2020 because of what happened in COVID. He didn't create COVID. He didn't cause the circumstance. It was Democrat governors around the country who are shutting the country down. But just the opposite is happening now. Biden and Harris have shut the country down effectively. The economy is much worse than anyone on the Democrat Party is talking about. They're trying to make it out better than it is, and we're really on the verge of recession if you look at it closely. And inflation's out of control because we're printing so much money. The American people know this intuitively. So this is why I have this sense that 2020 is turned on its head in favor of Donald Trump, with him having all the advantages, where he had so many disadvantages in 2020 that made it harder to get past those 40-some thousand votes that made all the difference in the Electoral College.
Yeah, and even the people that keep tabs on the Electoral College. I've seen a couple of different breakouts of that, and at least one of them is saying it looks like at least in the Electoral College, that it could be a landslide for Trump. So we'll see what happens there. But Jim, let me ask you this, and tell me if you're noticing this, and I feel like I've noticed this as well. And when I get ready for this show, I watch some not all the time, but I look at MSNBC. I look at what CNN is doing. I do what I can to pay attention to the different networks. And is it just me, or does it seem like the networks have really abandoned their attacks on J.D. Vance? It seemed to me that when Trump picked J.D. Vance, they went after everything they could possibly find on this guy, attacked him from all angles. He went on every interview, every Sunday show, multiple Sunday shows, multiple weeks in a row, and he effectively shut them down when they tried to bring up anything, because look, at one point he was a never Trumper. He came out early on and said, I don't think this guy's right for America. But then, after he saw Trump in action, he changed his ways and realized that he was wrong. But I don't see them attacking J.D. Vance or saying much about J.D. Vance at all right now. And I think it's because he was so successful and handled himself so well in that debate against Tim Walz. I think that the networks and the news just wants people to forget that J.D. Vance is on this ticket. They don't even want to say his name anymore.
No, that's quite true, I believe. Listen, there's some sense of it where it's crunch time and you want to know who's going to be president, not who's going to be vice president. But the reality is, if they had J.D. Vance to beat, like they were attempting to do at first, and they thought they could do so successfully, they would still be doing it. They did it to Dan Quayle in 1988 to try to take down George H.W. Bush. They did it again 4 years after that, and those maybe were more successful in their effect. But J.D. Vance is a superior person on his feet. And in fact, in many ways, he's as good as Donald Trump on his feet when you put him out in public. And so, yeah, I do agree with your analysis. There's no doubt that they want to avoid him as much as they can because they know they can't beat him. They've tried and tried and tried. And then Tim Walz made the difference all that much more clear, because Tim Walz is a freak. I don't say that, by the way, I've been working professionally in politics for most of my 30-plus year career, and I don't typically say this. In fact, I haven't said it about hardly any politician, but Tim Walz is a freak job. You saw that in that debate. It should have been considered embarrassing. That guy, the creepy eyes, the weirdo self-immolation that he put himself through.
He didn't do himself any favors.
It was crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think you're right, though. I think J.D. Vance is a positive that that MSNBC and CNN and all the left-wing media and traditional media that they don't want to touch because they know it helps Trump. They're trying to hurt him as much as they can constantly.
Well, Jim, we got to go. But before we go, it was 11 days ago we learned of the passing of Pete Rose. As a guy that grew up listening to 700 WLW and was a Pete Rose fan, your thoughts on the now late great Peter Edward Rose?
Well, I have to tell you, I'm a native Hoosier. I always tell people I was born in Indianapolis. We run a little race there you might have heard of.
A little race.
But I grew up a Reds fan, and I remember watching the Ken Burns documentary, and they played that first pitch out in 1972 that Jackie Robinson did. I was 7 years old at the time. It was an experience in my life because my mom, described it to me and what it really meant as a young kid. And Pete Rose was on that team, and I followed the Reds all the way through the Big Red Machine. This guy was a phenomenon. He was a great player. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But I grew up listening to WLW because I listened to Marty Brenneman calling all the games. And I grew up in that lifestyle of following baseball. he's from Cincinnati, the home of professional baseball, and maybe the greatest player of all time. There's certainly he and Babe Ruth. And it really touched my heart to see that he was gone and he didn't get in the Hall of Fame before that. But I love Cincinnati. I love Cincinnati baseball, and I'm sad for his passing, but I love the legacy of play that he represents, and I'm thankful I had a little opportunity to honor that here on the show tonight.
All right. Well, Jim, I appreciate those kind words, and always great having you on, my friend. And let's try and do it one or two times before the election.
Thanks. Glad to do it, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
All right, there you go. Jim Pfaff, and he is the president of the Conservative Caucus. All you got to do is Google it, and you'll find a lot of good information there. It is 10:27, a little late for a break on 700 WLW.
Oh, boy, we've got an election. We're voting for a president, representatives, senators, sheriffs, issues, levies, and a whole lot more. There's so much to vote for this time, you might get a finger cramp. And we've got election news out the squeaker. Listen for the latest election coverage on 700 WLW.
Zero S Carpet Cleaning, it doesn't just clean spots. They remove dirt from living spaces where you and your loved ones spend time. Don't miss the Zero S Fall Sale. 3 rooms are carpet clean, only $129. When you mention me, Bill Cunningham, easily schedule online, ZeroScentsy.com.
At Baths R Us, we're terrible roofers. We stink at installing siding. And don't ever call us for your kitchen remodel. But if you want a stunning, beautiful bathroom makeover in just 2 or 3 days, now that's when you want to call us. See, unlike most contractors these days, we offer only one service, bathroom remodeling. We don't spread ourselves thin by doing roofing or siding and a bunch of other stuff. Nope. At Baths R Us, we dedicate every company resource into mastering the craft of bath transformations. It's why we're the Midwest's biggest 5-star family-owned bathroom company. And it's why we have the happiest customers. Just check out our Google reviews. Baths R Us. We're terrible roofers, but we're awesome bathroom remodelers. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 513-676-BATH to schedule your free estimate, or go to bathsrus.com. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
This fall, escape to the mountains for the ultimate gaming getaway and the perfect chance to win big at the casino at Nemacolin. This season, experience explosive jackpot prizes like black and gold football tickets, free play, and a brand new Ford F-350 Tremor featuring the newest slots, thrilling table games, and a stunning high roller lounge. Your next big jackpot is waiting for you at the casino at Nemacolin. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. Must be 21 and over with ID to enter the casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Inexperienced prosecutors across the country are going soft on crime, leading to chaos, lawlessness, and more violence in our cities. They side with criminals over police. They ignore the victims. They leave our families vulnerable. Connie Pillage has never prosecuted a case. Not one, but Pillage has repeatedly sided with criminals and even let her law license expire. Connie Pillage. Zero experience, zero trust. We need Melissa Powers, a battle-tested fighter with decades of experience. After 15 years as a prosecutor and defense attorney and 16 on the bench as a judge, Melissa Powers knows the devastating impact crime has on communities and won't let it happen here. Melissa's protected the most vulnerable in our society: kids, families, victims of terrible crimes. And in over 150,000 cases, Melissa delivered justice. Tough on crime, experienced in court, right for Hamilton County families. Melissa Powers for Hamilton County Prosecutor. Paid for by Powers for Prosecutor.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Hurricane Milton has officially made landfall. With the 10:30 report, I'm Lee Mowen. Breaking now from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. Hurricane Milton, I'm Alex Stone. Hurricane Milton is right now battering areas from Tampa and to the south near Sarasota, officially making landfall earlier this evening in Siesta Key, Florida, as a Category 3 storm. Flooding is being reported in some areas and in St. Lucie County on the eastern side of Florida. The sheriff says tornadoes have caused loss of life. ABC's Jim Ryan is in Tampa.
With sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, the Category 3 Hurricane Milton is the strongest storm to hit the Florida Gulf Coast since 1921. After 40 years of refusing to evacuate for bad weather, Carolyn Vogt saw something different in this storm.
Even if you feel stupid and you come back and nothing happened, you did what you thought was best.
Even before making landfall, Milton had spawned more than a dozen tornadoes and knocked out power to 500,000 homes and businesses.
Hurricane Milton will tonight move across Florida. This is ABC News.
Now the latest traffic and weather together. As you heard on the last newscast, there was a crash right on by the Grand Avenue on-ramp to northbound 471. It appears that accident has cleared up. And looking around the OGO cameras, nothing to report. You're looking good, Cincinnati.
Now the latest forecast from the Train Heating and Cooling Weather Center on News Radio 700 WLW.
Another clear, calm, and cool night ahead. Temperatures dropping down towards about 47 to 48 degrees across the tri-state tonight, with clear skies continuing into Thursday. Thursday slightly cooler, right around 70 to 71, with more sunshine and a northeast wind at 5 to 10. Humidity slightly bumps up into Friday. Overall, still very pleasant. 74 with sunshine. Saturday a bit warmer into the upper 70s as clouds build with a rain chance overnight. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Brandon Spinner, News Radio 700 WLW.
Tri-State radar is clean, and it's 56 degrees in Cincinnati. The NCAA Division I Council today approving the immediate elimination of the National Letter of Intent program, the form binding between college programs and prospective athletes in use since 1964. Instead of the NLI, a new financial aid agreement will provide many of the core functions. Under these new rules, transfers can sign with a new school after formally entering the portal. Once an athlete signs an offer of financial aid, other schools are prohibited from recruiting communications. Following the NLI decision, change could come next for the NCAA recruiting calendar with a specific look at football. Officers on the lookout for teenagers accused of causing serious damage and potentially endangering lives around Claremont County. So far, 10 victims affected by these pranks of teenagers throwing rocks or bricks by a tree line next to the State Route 32 on-ramp from Olive Branch Stone Lake Road. One victim reportedly told Local 12 their damages were $3,000 to repair a broken windshield. Anyone with information is asked to contact police directly or Crime Stoppers at 888-352-3040. A 22-year-old motorcycle crash in Ross Township this afternoon. Taryn Johnson with the details.
A motorcycle crash here in the tri-state turns fatal. One person has died after a motorcycle crash in Ross Township Wednesday morning. It took place in the 2000 block of Ross Hanover Road just a little after 11 a.m. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones says a single vehicle crash was reported in the area, and upon arrival, crews found a 22-year-old motorcyclist who had been traveling east when he lost control, went off the road, and struck a fence. The victim was pronounced dead on the scene. No word on an identity of that person at this point in time. I'm Taryn Johnson, News Radio 700 WLW.
Our next update is at 11. I'm Lee Mowen, News Radio 700 WLW.
Home values in Cincinnati are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked, so you're thinking about selling. It's time, except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial investors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while the value is high, but you stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Sounds smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, secure retirement, whatever you want. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Get ready for Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Hey, this is David Cooper, Vice President at Genesis Diamonds. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special 2-day event, October 18th and 19th. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and 0% interest financing on a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got dozens and dozens of Pepsi, Batman, Sprites, Submariners, Daytonas, models you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine like new condition, some just out of the box. And listen, with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. That's a $3,000 value. Also, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing October 18th and 19th only, and only at Genesis Diamonds on Montgomery Road.
What's the best place to reach new customers for your business? Wherever they are. And that's exactly where you can be with iHeartMedia. We talk to our listeners everywhere, from the car to the gym to the kitchen. Your next customer is listening. And not only can we get your message to your audience, we can also show you how it's working in real time. That goes for broad brand messaging and targeted hyperlocal influencer campaigns alike. Start growing your business today by calling 844-GET-MY-AD. That's 844-GET-MY-AD.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
.700 WLW 1040 Dan Carroll till midnight tonight, Wednesday night edition of the Midweek Crisis. Sean McMahon, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. 513-749-7000, 800 the big one. A lot of audio I got to get to today, and let's go ahead and just start right from the top there, Sean McMahon. And this is Kamala Harris. We talked a lot about the different interviews that she's done over the last few days. And, of course, one was on The View. And this is one that again, she really had trouble with all of them. And she was asked about her and Joe Biden if she'd do anything different. Here it is, cut number one.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. The work that we have done, for example, capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month for our seniors is something I care deeply about allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices and bring the cost of prescription medication down for seniors, but my intention is to expand that for all Americans. The work we have done to invest in American industries, whether it be in terms of manufacturing and creating almost 800,000 new jobs around manufacturing. Those were all a shared priority.
So Kamala Harris can't think of a single thing. Nothing really comes to mind. No, nothing comes to mind. Not, the highest inflation that we saw in 40 years. That doesn't come to mind. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, where she bragged with Dana Bash that, she was the last one in the room. Felt really good about that decision. No, really, nothing at all comes to mind. The $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. The Inflation Reduction Act that really didn't do anything to reduce inflation. No, none of that comes to mind. None of that whatsoever. And again, it shows how she doesn't have an original thought. So then she went on the Colbert Show, and I believe this was. I think it was just a few hours after she did The View. And so Colbert, I'm sure he must have seen that, or his producer saw that, and they said, we've got to give her a do-over on this one. So Colbert teed her up this way, and listen to her response here. This is cut number 2.
Polling shows that a lot of people, especially independent voters, really want this to be a change election, and that they tend to break for you in terms of thinking about change. You are a member of the President's administration. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I noticed.
And so that would be one change in terms of... But also,
she's not Joe Biden.
I think it's
Very
important
clever.
to say with 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump. And so when
and
we
again,
think
that's
about
a line that she's
of
memorized.
What this next generation of leadership looks like, were I to be elected president, it is about, frankly, I love the American people, and I believe in our country. I love that it is our character and nature to be an ambitious people.
For God's sake. All right, that's enough. Here comes the dreams and aspirations and all that crap. And we've heard it all before. No, she's got absolutely nothing on that. The thing, I'm not Joe Biden and I'm not Joe Trump. Oh, that's so funny, so clever. That's all she's got. After all this time on the campaign trail, I mean, she has absolutely nothing. Let's see. Here's here we go. This is another one. This is Kamala Harris, and Colbert teed her up to hammer Trump when she was talking about the deaths under Trump during the Wuhan, and that is cut number 3.
You remember what those days were like? You remember how many people did not have tests and were trying to scramble to get them? You remember how rare it was to have one? You remember people by the hundreds were dying every day? We would watch the number every day being reported of people who were dying.
So do you think Kamala Harris really wants to go there? About the number of people who died because of the Wuhan? Higher COVID-19 death toll under Biden than Trump. As of September 2024. COVID-19 was responsible for 1.2 million deaths in the U.S., with the majority of those deaths occurring during the Biden presidency. Now, the death toll figures under both Trump and Biden aren't directly comparable because Biden's been in office for a longer period of time since the virus emerged. But when you look at the duration and you look at the week-by-week numbers, no, Trump fares much better on that than Biden does, if you look at the numbers. So does she really want to go there? Trying to hammer Trump on the people who died because of the Wuhan? The bottom line is more people died under Biden than died under Trump. Mark in Montford Heights, what do you got tonight?
Hey, Dan.
Mark,
a little
how
bit
are
off
you?
The topic.
Okay.
Good.
Go ahead.
A little bit off the topic, but we spent the day in Springfield. We
Really?
went up to visit friends in Eden. And
give me
anyway,
a. I'll say as Bill Cunningham says, give me a full report. What did you see in Springfield?
Well, we had dinner. Our friends from Eden drove us around Springfield, and there were high schoolers, white and black, out on the streets. I would imagine they were track runners and out running on the sidewalks. There were couples walking down the street, strolling their little kids. There were people just milling around, and it was very peaceful. We saw no Nazis. We saw no KKK, and everyone looked pretty comfortable being out on the street.
So
I know it's only
you didn't see a place that was overrun by Haitian immigrants. You didn't see dogs and cats running in fear for their lives of being barbecued on a street corner.
Well, I do have to say we did not see any dogs or cats.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take that on face value.
But I do have to say that the hospital up there, they have one major hospital, and I won't say the name, but they do have a unit. And I've worked in the medical field for years, but I gathered this information from being up there from a family member. But they do have a unit on the in that hospital that is strictly for maternity Haitian females because it's an AIDS unit.
Mm-hmm.
And, so they kind of separated them from the general population of a maternity unit.
Well, you know what? I'm glad to have an update from Springfield. And what did you order when you had dinner up there?
Oh, I just got a grilled chicken sandwich and fries.
Okay. Are you sure it was chicken?
No cat or anything like that.
All right.
So,
Well, Mark, I appreciate the update from Springfield.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the call. Let's get one more soundbite in here. This is one that bothers me, and this line, this is something Kamala has said a couple. I've heard her say it a few times, and this was I think we hear the question in this, but let's talk actually let's listen to cut number 4.
A quarter of registered voters still say they don't know you. They don't know what makes you tick. And why do you think that is? What's the disconnect?
It's an election, Bill. And I take it seriously that I have to earn everyone's vote.
Seriously,
This
yeah.
is an election for President of the United States. No one should be able to take for granted that they can just declare themselves a candidate and automatically receive support. You have to earn it. And that's what I intend to do.
That's what she intends to do. There's less than 30 days to the election. How do you intend to earn it? Why can't you sit there and say, I've been vice president for the last 4.5 years. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And I hope that record is good enough to earn your vote. The only way she is trying to earn anyone's vote is by saying, I'm trying to earn your vote. I guess in her mind, I guess I can't blame her for thinking that way. Just because you get elected to the House or the Senate, a lot of people think that by virtue of simply getting elected, that makes you someone special. That makes you important. All of a sudden, you've got all this gravitas, right? All this, you've got all this wisdom now because, well, you're a member of Congress. That, to her way of thinking, is how you earn the vote. She earns your vote by saying she wants to earn your vote. Alice and Amelia, does that work with you, with Kamala Harris saying she wants to earn your vote, and that's what she intends to do between now and Election Day? What can Kamala Harris do to earn your vote?
She can't do anything. I wouldn't vote for her. No, there is a technical 50-cent word to describe her. The woman is absolutely ditzy.
Ditzy. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I told you it's a 50-cent word. Yeah. She opens her mouth, and she should remain quiet, because when she opens her mouth, it's all over. It's absolutely all over. And I do think people are beginning to understand what's going on. And I think the tide is turning. There are a lot of people who are afraid to say that they'll vote for Donald Trump, but we have to keep our eye on the prize and keep thinking positively, working positively for it. And Donald Trump has said that when he's in office, he will get rid of the criminals that are here and get rid of the illegals who are criminals and, work on the other ones later. And I think another thing that needs to be done is to identify the members of the House and the Senate who have been working to undermine this country, and go after them, vote them out of office.
Well, I certainly hope that happens, but I think that's more of a function of name recognition and having the big money and the big party behind you and all the rest of that. I think, and my wife keeps asking me if I think that Sherrod Brown is going to get reelected in the state of Ohio, and I said, you know what? I think people go in there, maybe they don't know that much about Sherrod Brown or what he stands for, or who's running again. Bernie Moreno. They're going to look at that and they say, "Well, yeah, I've heard this Sherrod Brown name before, so I think I'm going to vote for that guy." And I think that's the way it works for a lot of those people. But you were talking about deportation. Did you know that there's a new poll out that shows 2/3 of Americans support deportation for illegal immigrants? So I think that's pretty good. But this whole thing bothers me with Kamala Harris going around, and it just, with her, and this is not the first time she said it. And the last time she was asked about this, she was specifically asked about black men, young black men, who by and large are trending towards Trump in big numbers right now. And she said the same thing. Well, I have to go out and earn their vote. Well, how has she done that? Has she done that? Has she done anything towards that goal? I don't see it.
Dan, I don't think the woman has actually earned anything.
She never won a vote in a primary.
No. And the first time I ever heard her name, I watch C-SPAN. That is, real life television. And I watched her grill the Supreme Court justice. I can't think of his name, whose name was sullied. And she said, "You have to believe the woman. And she was absolutely vicious.
Yeah, when she was attacking Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And yes, and the senator from who's passed away since then, also from California, they also attacked him. But that's when she first came on the scene that I noticed her. And I don't want. She doesn't stand for anything that's American.
No.
She also, this would be Barack Obama's fourth term because he's behind the scenes pulling the strings, and she wouldn't be any better than Joe Biden. The only thing is that he has the mentality of a houseplant, and she's just malleable.
Well, I said a long time ago, part of the reason that she was selected to be vice president is because she would simply obey the orders that came down from the party big, and she made that clear. She said in a different interview that she did this weekend, she was sort of asked the same question, and she talked about, well, I earned the respect and the endorsement of the party leadership, all these different party leaderships, so I can be the presidential candidate, and essentially said that, I'm a servant to the party big shots who are going to tell me what to do. But Alice, with that, we've got to run. We've got to get to the news here at the top of the hour. But as always, thank you so much for calling, and you have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.
There you go. Alice and Amelia. Love her voice. 1056, 700 WLW.
Homeowners, the Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Eddie. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in at lower rates with virtually no paperwork and